Justin Berger is Chief Strategy Officer at BAI Communications and joins us now to delve a bit deeper into some new research that they've produced around better connectivity and smart city applications. Justin, welcome to Ticker. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really well. Great to have you on Ticker. Before we get into some of these findings, tell us more about BAI Communications and also the report.
Yes, sure. So BAI Communications is a global communication infrastructure provider. So we design and build and operate networks across the world. And this can be cellular networks, Wi-Fi, broadcast, IP, fiber optic networks. We have a presence in Australia where we have quite an extensive broadcast network, but we also present in the US, in Canada, in the UK, and in Hong Kong. And in those locations, we are more of a specialist in transit communication. So we've built and deployed networks, for example, in the New York subway, the Toronto subway, or the Hong Kong subway.
So tell us about some of the findings. Sorry, I'll jump in. Tell us about some of the findings from the research more specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. So the research, we've interviewed about 2,500 rail users across the world, and there are really three key findings. Number one is around 5G. There's a real push from users, to see 5G deployed everywhere, but in subway environments, of course, as well, so that they can benefit from faster connectivity. But also they're aware that the transit authorities can leverage 5G to deploy applications for their own users and specifically for public safety and security. The second finding of the report is around personalization. So there's a push and a request from rail users around more personalized services. So things like giving you intermodal connection, or making it easier for you to adapt your journey if there's an incident on your usual path, but also access for people with special needs. And finally, the third finding is around public spaces in a broader sense, where people are eager to see digital infrastructure and data playing a bigger role in the way public authorities, whether it's transport or cities at large, design public spaces.
And so in terms of what's happened this year, in your view, how relevant do you think these findings are, in the wake of what we've seen with the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a good point. We all know what COVID has meant for public transport, and then still means. And so, it's, first of all, it's worth pointing out that we've done this research in the early months of 2020. So when the full impact of COVID on public transport specifically wasn't fully known. However, we think that most of the findings are still very relevant. If I take public safety and security, for instance, that I've mentioned before, it's obviously even more relevant and important in the wake of COVID. And for transport authorities being able to look at things like overcrowding in some of the stations, social distancing being the new normal, that's very important and very relevant. And we believe that despite the fact that it's a very hard year for many, but for transport authorities even more than others, now is a good time to actually invest in the underlying infrastructure, the digital infrastructure that will be required in the coming years.
And just briefly and finally, are any of these advancements you're talking about that the survey has shown, are we seeing any of that at the moment?
Yeah, I think we are. So we, for example, go back again to public safety and security. We've partnered with the Toronto Transit Commission, and we've deployed a data analytics solution in the subway, and that gives them live information on the crowding in each of the platform, each of the station. And that's very useful for them, as I was saying, in the context of people coming back to the subway, and we all want to avoid, overcrowding anywhere. So that's really useful. And there's a number of other things that we are trialing with our transit partners across the world, whether it's driverless trains or smart cameras in station, or predictive maintenance, to be able to know via sensors when a specific part on a train or on an escalator is going to fail. So all of these use cases we're working on with transit authorities, and more broadly, we're working with them on upgrading their network to 5G.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. We'll have to keep in contact with you and learn more in terms of what's moving over the next 6 to 12 months. Where can we head if we want to learn more about what you're up to and also some of these findings?
Sure. Well, the full report is available on our website, which is www.baicommunications.com, where you can find all the results, download the report, and learn more.
Thanks so much for your time, Justin. We'll talk soon.
Thanks very much.